Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Doctorate Diaries. I'm Dr. Azra Rashid, and today we're diving into an essential aspect of the PhD journey, that of feedback. This episode's entitled Feedback and the Doctorate, and I'll be sharing with you how I utilize the software Scrivener to respond to feedback effectively. I think Scrivener was an important tool throughout my process, PhD process. In fact, I started using it before my PhD on various other papers and things I was writing. So I already had some inkling on how it would be useful for a mega project. Feedback is a vital component of the research process, guiding you to refine and improve your work. It helps you see your research from a different perspective, identify gaps, and enhance the quality of your thesis. In this episode, we'll explore how to manage feedback effectively, efficiently, and to use it to your advantage with the help of Scrivener. Sometimes feedback can be good, positive, and sometimes it can be negative. And it's very, very important to have the mindset that whatever feedback is being given is being utilized to enhance quality of the thesis. Research indeed is an iterative process. You can't just expect a quality piece of work from the beginning. It takes time, and especially when you start your thesis, your work, is the chaos of all the madness of all the things that you have to grapple and balance in your day-to-day life, and as well as the research that you are doing. Every piece of feedback you receive is a step towards refining your ideas and sharpening your arguments. Reflection here is a key and important part of the process, achieved through writing and, importantly, through the feedback from others. So reflection is something that you can do from within, internal reflection, and you do that through the writing process, and externally through the feedback you're getting from others. Reflecting on feedback helps you to understand the strengths and weaknesses of your work. It allows you to see where you need to delve deeper and where you can streamline your arguments. Scrivener's note-taking feature is particularly useful here. So if you go to the software, for example here, introduction, I might be, for example, I've written the introduction chapter is in different it's got different files. You can see a chapter 1. So the quotation starts with, and then the actual body of writing. I also, in between, for example, have miscellaneous, where I may have found some interesting articles and notes from elsewhere. So I'll put them in, and you can see here when you put those in, you try to put it in with the referencing, the reference you need. And the reference software that I'm using is EndNote. So this is how you do it from EndNote. We'll go through that in another episode. So you can start putting your notes in here. There's also a notes feature here as part of Scrivener. So if you go into Scrivener itself, you can see there's areas for research, notes, ideas, and there's trash as well. So within notes, you can put your supervisor feedback within those, and every piece of feedback can be going there. So that gives you a sense of the software. Now, for example, if you have written notes on a subsection, you can actually insert that. Let's say you write your note, you can insert that into your subsection, and when it comes time to compiling the software. So if we go into chapter 1, for example, file, and we're going to do a compile. Compile means that you're going to convert part of that, or you can convert the whole, all the notes, or you can convert part of the thesis. Let's say we're going to convert just in the introduction. See that note, old context and miscellaneous. These ones are notes that I've put in there after feedback or any changes that I've made but I've not clicked on them. So when it gets compiled, the main body of text will be compiled, and I don't lose my notes as well. So that's something that's quite a handy feature. The role of the supervisor is actually key in the whole feedback process. The supervisor is somewhere there to help bounce ideas off and understand the literature, understand the arguments of the day, help you save a lot of time by guiding you in the right direction. The supervisor provides critical insights, challenges your assumptions, and helps you stay focused on your research goals. Unfortunately, supervisors like mine, who are very successful, are also very busy, and so interactions can be scant. It's very important in doing those interactions, things are more focused. So if you have a software like Scrivener, you can insert questions which you're going to go and ask your supervisor, or you can highlight areas that you are of concern in your thesis. However, a good supervisor can be invaluable, can provide insights and help you refine. Unfortunately, supervisors get very busy, and so interactions can be scant. And it's very important to use those opportunities as efficiently as possible, as a good supervisor can be invaluable, can help you refine your work at an early stage, which will be important in saving time. As you saw in Scrivener, I created a dedicated section in the binder for supervisor feedback. This allowed me to keep track of all the suggestions and comments from my supervisor in one place, ensuring that I could easily refer back to them and make necessary adjustments. Because often the supervisor will say, if you remember, I told you blah, 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 blah. So it's important then to be able to say, yeah, actually did tell me blah, 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 but I did those changes and this is where I'm at. So best way of seeing how you respond to feedback and what tools you can use, I'll take you to a live case. I just 2 days ago got some feedback about the final aspects of my thesis, and this is a feedback from one of my supervisors. So you can see on the screen here, it says, I've finished reading the thesis. In general, the thesis has enough contributions at the PhD level. So that's just amazing, isn't it, right? So that's very positive. However, some comments, and always thesis can be improved, so let's see. And there's 5 comments. First one is related to the abstract, and it says we need to address the problem in a different way rather than a solution waiting for the problem. So I need to focus on that. Then chapter 1, the elements are there, but the research program along with the originality needs to be better presented. It looks like somehow it's a solution looking for a problem, so I need to focus on that. And basically what I'm going to do is rejig and focus on some of the difficulties I have as a clinician and how genomics will be useful in that regard. So I've got an idea for number 2. Number 3, it says chapters are dense and need to be simplified. So I think that's quite simple. There's quite a lot of tables in both of those chapters, so I'm going to move those tables down. And they're saying that chapters 4 and 7 need to outline the main contributions thesis, but the repetitions. So no, it says chapters 4 outline the main contributions, but there are some repetitions. Try to explain how you collect the results. And chapter 8 is good, but we need to enhance quantitatively the key outputs achievements. So simply we'll go to number 1, which is the abstract first. And what I've done is I'm going to upload it to ChatGPT. Now, uploading it to ChatGPT, well, then ChatGPT knows your thesis and everybody else knows your thesis. So fortunately, a number of my chapters, the main chapters, have all been published in the main literature. And the other areas of materials don't have any major intellectual property. If they did, then the aim would be to conserve this and not use sort of open platforms. So that's one of the disadvantages of uploading a whole body of work. But for me, it's fine because it's going to go to examination, and then the thesis will be uploaded anyway to the university server for the whole world to see. So yeah, here this is what I've done. I'll say, let me see, ChatGPT. Good morning. This is my PhD thesis, and my supervisor has asked me to redo the abstract at the start of the thesis. His comments. So the comments are, I'll just bring that across and put the comment there. So we'll see what ChatGPT brings out for us. Kindly redo the abstract. See what it does. So I've uploaded it, and here we go. So it's talking about the multifaceted aspects. Okay, it's not really writing it in ideally abstract way. So we'll need to do that, but let's see what it's done. Aims to advance the understanding. The key contributing work include, so these are contributions, methodologies, research. So I'm probably not going to use all this because I think my abstract is already pretty good. So, but understand the thesis by leveraging temporal gene expression. So abstract can be enhanced at beginning by addressing the problem before talking about, and okay, so this talks about key contributions. So the multifaceted nature of, so that's what it's done really, which is not amazing. Say, focus the abstract. So I want it to focus more on the clinical problem. Sorry. Okay, here we go. This is just so same. It advances multifaceted condition, diversity etiologies, clinical nation, and demands innovative approaches to improve patient care and outcomes. So let me explain. As a clinician, resuscitating patients is challenging. They are very sick in the acute stage, and there is an increased risk of mortality in this phase. Okay, so let me see what it says now. So revised abstract, here we go. Clinicians with such sepsis is particularly challenging due to their condition. Just goes to show you can't really rely on just blindly following large language models here. As a clinician, measure challenging due to their severe condition in the acute stage, increased risk of mortality during the acute phase. So we're beginning to change, but it's still requiring a lot of interaction. So basically, I'm just trying to show how you can upload your thesis and you can start this conversation. Let's go. So the abstract is something I'll be sort of thinking about a little bit more and interacting. Let's go to something. Here we go. So meaty. Chapter is good, but can be enhanced by constantly improved the key outputs. Chapters 4 to 7. Now, I've already done this, and it took me a bit of time. So I'm going to cut to the chase, and I'm going to ask it a specific question. Chapter is good, but can be enhanced constantly. You got from, and let's just focus on chapter 4 contributions. So the contributions, my supervisor is saying I need to bring in some more quantitative language into the thesis from a previous chapter. So let's see how ChatGPT does that from one of my other chapters. Here we go. It's just amazing, isn't it, right? You know, it's actually should be now looking at the areas of chapter 8, reading the document, and looking at chapter 4 and saying, well, what are the quantitative areas? So here we go. So it's talking about, here we go, an overview in a discussion. Okay, so this is a part of an overview, but now specifically to chapter 4. There we go. So it talks about aspects of that. And here we go. We've got some idea of downregulation, which is giving a p-value. It's showing some of the work in relation to artificial intelligence and the numbers associated with those. So there's a quantitative number there. Here we have another number on the PCA, which is good. Okay, so it talks about paradigm shift, which is fine. But specifically to chapter 4, I'm trying to find, here we go, we've got predicting. So it's given me some more direction. Okay, this surely there are more quantitative points from chapter 4 to be included. Let's see what it says here. So it did not a bad job. I'm just wondering if I can stretch it a little bit more. And why it does that, well, I'll have a quick cup of tea and see where we go from here. So again, through a discussion. So yeah, it's providing me, it's just going into some bit more detail, but it's contribution to thesis. Okay, now let me ask a more direct question. What are the... Okay, so let's see specifically, I'm going to ask this a very direct question. What are the conclusions of chapter 4? Please illustrate using quantitative points, okay? So maybe this might be a better tact to take, especially when a large thesis has to be consumed by this large language model. So yeah, it's just going to the same numbers, which is fine. So it's more of a direct question. We've got more quantitative points. So what I'm going to do is, okay, in table, because I know what's in the chapter, can include that summarizes the AI tools tested. So you need to know, of course, what's in your thesis. And here we go, it's presenting a table, which we already we know about. So if you know your thesis and you know what areas are, provide that quantitative analysis, then, you can include areas like this. But I probably need to think about this a little bit more because, do I really want to repeat a table that's already in the notes? So we'll see. We'll have a little think about that. But anyway, it gives you an idea of how you can sort of interact with ChatGPT and upload areas of your thesis or other analytics and have that conversation. And therefore starting to address some of that feedback that you've received. So now in conclusion, feedback is an integral part of the research process. Using tools such as Clever can make your life much easier as you respond to feedback effectively. It makes your thesis stronger and more coherent. Remember, research is iterative and each feedback cycle brings you closer to your goal. Thank you for watching the episode of Doctorate Diaries. If you found this video helpful, please like, share and subscribe. So remember, an important function of the PhD thesis is to develop novel knowledge. This knowledge must be new and to a degree significant. The degree of significance is a crucial ingredient to the value of the research you're providing. Ideally, your research should contribute to the existing body of knowledge in a meaningful way, addressing gaps or providing new insights. To achieve this, I use Scrivener's research section to organize all my sources, articles and references. This feature helped me to keep track of all the literature I reviewed and ensured that my work was grounded in existing research. By tagging and annotating these sources, as I mentioned, it helped me to identify gaps in the literature, and I was able to focus on areas where my work could make a significant contribution. One of the complicating factors of my research is the fact that it's interdisciplinary, and so the feedback was kind of disjointed with the three different disciplines, and it was very, very important for me to try to grapple with that. And going back again to the research objectives and aims is very, very important if you're facing confusion and the challenges of as such. Now, if we go into the types of feedback, there are different types of feedback, and this is according to the sources from which they emanate. Each type and source of feedback adds a unique flavor to your thesis, helping you see your work from various perspectives. You can receive feedback from your supervisor, from your peers, from academic conferences, and even online forums, and including social media. However, you wouldn't be uploading a whole load of information to social media from a thesis, because that wouldn't be quite a valid use of the social media platform. But there may be specific arguments and discussions that you could be having. Also, in Scrivener, there is the split screen facility. So if we go to here, navigate here, we go to navigation, and you can see here in the corner there's a split screen there. Now, so for example, let's say I have this introduction piece. Sorry, let's put that. You click that, and that comes on your left pane. And here is the old introduction. So if I put old introduction there. So you can see here now, as you go through one paragraph, you can then review that against other areas and notes and things you've taken, and put any such notes and feedbacks, etc., into the body of the text. There might be certain areas that you've sort of highlighted. So there's a highlighting facility in Scrivener. You just click that, and then you can highlight with all sorts of colors. And for me, when I did receive feedback, I would color it in blue or green or whatever, or red if it was very, very important and needed to ensure that feedback would be incorporated. So that's a good use of the split screen facility on Scrivener. So we saw with the split screen facility how you can have your draft on one side and the feedback document on the other, making it easier to apply changes directly and review various comments. It is a challenge achieving novel and significant analysis in your thesis. And one of the most important challenges in my thesis was to achieve an analysis that would be deemed novel and significant. And so one area of feedback that I received was my first paper, which is chapter 4. It was my first experimental chapter or analytics section. And I'd done quite a bit of work. The initial bit of work was related to a process called WCG&A. So if we just to get rid of the panes, what you do is you open that pane in terms of the pane that you want, and then you can see here the body of my introduction. So the feedback I got was that the chapter was short, and so what I did was work with colleagues and added an area of artificial intelligence to that paper. So the results not just included areas related to WCG&A, sort of a package to look at different relationships within a network, but I also applied artificial intelligence, and this is a crucial bit of feedback from my supervisor. It not just only boosted the quality of my work, but also it made it very relevant to the current focus of the clinical literature, which is and was moving towards artificial intelligence. So at the time, that bit of feedback in terms of adding artificial intelligence was quite a difficult area of feedback to swallow, because that required a significant amount of work on my basis. But it pushed the quality of the thesis, and it was a hard a hard bit of feedback to swallow, but now in retrospect and in hindsight, it really has boosted the quality of my work. Scrivener also has a project top, but I did have a to-do list at the top. So here you can see I've got a to-do list, and I've got a list of things related to works ongoing to complete the thesis. So I'll just add the to-do list there. So that was the way I did it, and everybody has their own ways of using the features of Scrivener. But it was adequate to my means, allowing me to complete and finish the thesis within the 3-year timeline. I would say Scrivener is a fantastic tool for managing large writing projects such as the PhD thesis. It helped me to break down my thesis into manageable chunks to keep track of feedback and incorporate changes systematically. So Scrivener's feature such as the binder for organizing the sections. You can see here the way I've done it, and I've organized the sections into different chapters and notes. I found incredibly helpful. I could easily track the feedback for each section, make revisions, and ensure that all comments were addressed. This streamlined my writing process and made responding to feedback more efficient. There's also the feedback from the wider audience, such as when you're giving presentations locally or in national, international conferences. So I would really recommend attending conferences and presenting your work. For me, during the COVID-19 pandemic, I had the advantage of utilizing virtual presentations, which saved a lot of time. However, this lacked the personal interactions, which could potentially be useful for developing one's further career. However, virtual presentations did allow me to reach a broader audience and receive worldwide expert feedback. I'd really encourage you to journal during the thesis, because it helps you to understand how it's all coming together. Keeping a journal helped me document the feedback I received, my responses, and the changes I made. It allowed me to understand how I was developing as a researcher. In Scrivener, you can use the daily journal template to record thoughts, progress, and reflections. This practice kept me organized and motivated, as I could see my research evolving and improving over time. I use a hardback paper notebook for this. Feedback, we've spoken on quite a bit about the external feedback, but there's also the potential internal feedback, which you get through an exercise such as journaling or diarying. Initially, in the initial phase of the first third of my thesis, I did that regularly and religiously, and I found it very, very useful to stay on track, to reflect the way the work was moving along compared to my hypothesis, research, and objectives. If you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover, leave them in the comments below. Until next time, keep pushing the boundaries of knowledge. So if we go to here, navigate here, we go to navigation, and you can see here in the corner there's a split screen there. Now, so for example, let's say I have this introduction piece. Sorry, let's put that. You click that, and that comes on your left pane. And here is the old introduction. So if I put old introduction there, so you can see here now, as you go through one paragraph, you can then review that against other areas and notes and things you've taken, and put any such notes and feedbacks, etc., into the body of the text. There might be certain areas that you've sort of highlighted. So there's a highlighting facility in Scrivener. You just click that, and then you can highlight with all sorts of colors. And for me, when I did receive feedback, I would color it in blue or green or whatever, or red if it was very, very important and needed to ensure that feedback would be incorporated. So that's a good use of the split screen facility on Scrivener.